Hey guys, I just wanted to do a quick live because I've been talking to a lot of people about this week, as far as just understanding hunger a little better. This is something that was so confusing to me for so long, and I've done a lot of reading on this. I've done a lot of training with my coach group. I've done a lot of training with clients, and it's something that I wanted to share. Obviously, there's more sources on this. If you want to get more into it, let me know afterwards, and I can get those out to you. But the three types of hunger. First is physical hunger. I'm going to talk about that for a second. The second is the desire to eat. And the third are cravings. So let me go through the three. And the hope is that once you can understand the difference between these types of hunger, when you have hunger that hits, you're going to be able to have some factors to consider to understand what type of hunger it is, and then you're going to know what to do with it better. Okay, so physical hunger is when your body literally is out of fuel. It's typically defined by a pinching in your belly. It's one of those, I will eat anything, I'm just hungry, like what can I eat? For any of you who've gone shopping hungry, physical hunger at the grocery store is not a good thing. You're going to fill your cart with anything, and you're going to get home and think, why did I buy all this? But it's typically that pinching in your belly. If you're fueling correctly and not overeating, typically every 2 to 3 hours, your body should start to experience physical hunger. Now, if you wait till you're like super, super hungry, like completely out of gas hungry, I'm talking 10 out of 10 hungry, that's when you're shaky, you're tired, typically you're getting hangry. So there's different stages of hunger. Between 1 of you just ate and 10, you're gonna die if you don't eat and it's been hours and hours. I usually recommend people eat anywhere between 4 to 5 on the hunger scale. And that's where you're not super hungry, but you just have a little bit and it's enough to keep you going. You're not coming into it super hungry, so you're not going to overeat. You're probably not going to eat that quickly. So as far as physical hunger, around 2 to 3 hours, look for that pinching in your stomach. Also, the early signs of thirst are almost identical to the early signs of hunger. So if you're feeling that pinching in your stomach, you're feeling a little fatigue, and it hasn't quite been 2 to 3 hours, but you're feeling that energy drag, try drinking a tall glass of water and wait 10 minutes. And a lot of times that water will give you the boost that you need. And it wasn't actually physical hunger, it was just dehydration. The point where your throat is super dry and you're like, oh, I'm parched, I'm so thirsty, you are way past the point where you should have been drinking at that point. So try to catch hydration early. If you're eating every 2 to 3 hours, if every time you eat you just drink a tall glass of water, you're going to stay hydrated as well. Okay, so physical hunger, that's all I'm going to say about that. Now let's move on to the second type of hunger, which is the desire to eat. Now, anytime you eat when your body doesn't physically need to eat, that is classified as emotional eating. And some of you might say, oh, I'm not an emotional eater, I just don't watch my portions. But really, if it's not a physical need to eat, it does fall under this umbrella. So the desire to eat is usually caused by an emotion. And the emotions that we teach our clients about, I want you to think of the acronym BLASTED. BLASTED. These are the major emotions that give you this desire to eat, whether it's stress or, well, I'll go through the acronym. Bored. It's something to do. Boredom eating is huge. It's the end of the day, you're watching a show, you're just bored, you want something in your hands. Lonely is another one. You feel this emptiness. A lot of times lonely food eatings, you're looking for comforting soft foods. They're usually foods more like ice creams, bread, something soothing. A lonely feeling is typically an emptiness inside of you that you want to fill, and food is going to give you this temporary feeling that you're feeling it. So lonely is another one. BLA. A is angry, you're upset. A lot of the angry food that you have this desire to eat, they're going to involve mashing and smashing your jaw. So maybe this is chips, maybe this is Cheetos, maybe it's nuts. It's just something that you can put in your mouth and just smash on. So a lot of these angry emotions, we call them head foods. They're foods that you have this pressure in your head and you want to smash it out with your jaws. So bored, lonely, angry, stressed. Stress eating, that was my biggest one for sure. Stress is you have this feeling when you eat carbs and salty fatty foods, literally it releases serotonin in your brain for a few minutes while you're eating the food. So your brain does tell you, hey, you're feeling stressed, eat this food. It's going to give you a quick little dopamine thing. The problem is 5 minutes later, that's gone already and you're still stressed. I remember one time I was working late on a project. It was 2 in the morning. I was stressed. I was angry. And my trigger food when I have this desire to eat is Fritos. And I had my hand in this bag of Fritos, and I was eating more and more and more. And the night was going on. And I'd been learning about this. And I remember I put my hand in that bag of Fritos for the 10 millionth time. And as my hand went in, I just heard this voice in my head, and it said, Sarah, how many of these do you need to eat to make this feeling go away? And that's when I realized, like, there's literally no amount of Fritos in the world that is going to fix the fact that I'm a procrastinator, that I waited too long on this project, that I'm tired. So, you know, that's that feeling. Bored, lonely, angry, stressed, tired. So fatigue is a huge one for desire to eat. Anytime your body is not rested, you have a couple hormones in your body, leptin and ghrelin, and they're really interesting. Basically, one of them, if you're overtired, it makes it so that you're not as satisfied with the food that you're eating. So your body won't get physically satisfied. And the other one makes it so, I'm trying to remember, leptin, so you're not as satisfied, and that you basically have this ongoing desire to eat. I can't remember. I'm gonna have to look this up. Sorry, brain fail. So you want to eat more and you're not as satisfied with the food you're eating, basically, are the concepts behind these two hormones. So fatigue is huge. If it's past 10:30 and I have a desire to eat, it's almost always just, oh, I need to go to bed now because it's late and I'm not actually hungry. It's just late. And I know that past 10:30, any desire that I have to eat is usually just fatigue. Bored, lonely, angry, stressed, tired. Excited. You're excited. You want to celebrate. Oh my gosh, we just won the victory at kickball. Let's go get Nielsen's ice cream. Oh, Nielsen's. If you guys don't have it where you live, it's the best frozen custard ever. It's, yeah. Whatever your celebration food is, you know, when you think, oh, I did something great, I deserve a treat. I used to go to a gym, and I was talking to this trainer, and she was telling me about a trainer she worked with who was like this hardcore Russian trainer who had a client who came in who was just saying, oh, I deserve to eat this because I've worked so hard all week and I deserve a treat. And the trainer looked at her and she said, why you need to treat? Are you dog? And so, like, recognizing that there are other ways we can treat ourselves. We're not dogs. We don't need little, like, food here and there to keep us incentivized to do a good job. Like, your kickball team would probably have gone out and won that championship even if you weren't going to have ice cream afterwards. So finding other ways to celebrate. So one more. Bored, lonely, angry, stressed, tired, excited, blasted, B-L-A-S-T-E-D. What was D? I think it's depressed. Did I get this right currently? I'll have to double check. Sadness. Sadness is a huge one. So again, it's this heart hunger. You're trying to fill in this hole in your heart. Okay, so there's so much more information about emotional eating, but understand if you have a desire to eat, do a quick check, look and see if it's one of these emotions that you're feeling. If it is, give yourself a couple other options. Yes, you could eat the food and it might give you a temporary, you know, Band-Aid for a few seconds while it's in your mouth or in your throat, but the second it's done, that emotion is still there. So come up with a few other options of what could actually solve this emotion. If it was fatigue, you know, maybe I could just take a quick nap. If it was anger, maybe I could get out my journal and write all this down, or maybe I could go and like go run for a minute and just blast it out on the pavement. So give yourself a couple other options and then make a choice. What do you want to do? You could still go eat those Fritos, absolutely, but now you've given yourself a couple other choices, and those other choices are probably going to actually address the emotion, not just be a Band-Aid over it that is going to keep coming off. All right, the last type of hunger is cravings. So cravings are really, really funny. They're typified by being a very specific food. And when you have a craving, it's usually a really strong feeling in the back of your throat. Like it's kind of like a tugging. Your mouth might start salivating. So the best example of a craving is you're at work, you're walking down the office, and you walk past the break room and you turn and look, and there are Cinnabons, cupcakes right there, and they're hot. As I said that, some of you listening might just have gotten this exact feeling if suddenly now you have a craving. They're gushy, they're warm. So cravings are typified by being specific to one food, coming out of the blue. It's usually triggered by a visual, or like if you see an ad on TV, or if you smell something. And the cool thing about cravings is you walk by that desk at work, you see the Cinnabons, but if you just keep walking and distract yourself, that craving is going to be gone in about 2 minutes. So cravings are crazy because in the moment, you feel like, oh my gosh, if I don't eat that, I'm going to die. Like it's this huge, like panicky feeling of, I need it now, I need it now. And so, but your brain is a liar, and your brain just really is a baby, and it loves fatty, carby food. So when you have that craving, look and see if it's a feeling in the back of your throat. And I like to ask myself, I'm like, if I eat that, what am I gonna remember it 20 minutes from now? Like, how will that change my life? Or if I eat that, is it gonna send me down this craving spiral? So something that helps for me with cravings is I keep all the food out of sight in my house. I don't keep food on the counter. If you're in a workspace, try to have a workspace where you're not in the line of sight of foods. And then if you do see a food like that, if you have a craving, maybe just give yourself a little challenge and say, okay, I see it now. It's not an emergency. I have this feeling. I'm going to give myself 20 minutes and think about it and decide if I still want it 20 minutes from now, when it's out of sight, when you've distracted yourself. So those are the 3 types of hunger: true physical hunger / thirst, desire to eat, which is usually not food specific and it's based to an emotion, and it can just be ongoing and forever. That's kind of the zone I was stuck in for a long, long time. I thought my brain wasn't a liar for years and years, and I would be like, oh, my brain is telling me to eat Fritos. It must know something, because I'd heard about like intuitive eating and all this. I'm like, my body must need something in those Fritos, and you know, I just should probably eat those because my body's telling me to, and so there's got to be some nutrition in there. I don't know. I know more about it now, but and then of course the cravings. So the cravings are food specific, pulling at the back of your throat, almost never related to physical hunger, and they almost go away. They almost always go away the second that particular food is out of your sight or you've gotten distracted by something else. So anyway, be mindful when you get that desire to eat or hunger or craving. Stop, identify what it is and what's actually going on, and then decide what you want to do next. So anyway, I hope this was helpful for any of you. I love helping people with this. I offer free coaching services to people who are doing the program that I use. If you know anyone who needs extra support, accountability, check-ins, this is something I'm really passionate about, send them my way. Or if you just want to have a conversation, let me know. But yeah, let's have a healthy 2020. Bye, guys.